the face. Not the face. He's gone.
What, the shiny one?
Who is? A72! I think this should be yours.
I was looking everywhere for it. Where did you find it?
Somebody had laid claim to it. Look. He's staring at me again.
He is, isn't he? Wait, why do I have a gold one?
You must be the leader.
Honeycomb.
Oh,
hell, the leader.
It flies in the face of the whole point of... Because there should never be anyone in charge.
Oh, yeah, we are all one.
But some of us are more one than others. This seems to suggest something of a mission statement, doesn't it? Oh. They've done it again, haven't they? This has happened before, where we just kind of told what it is we're supposed to be doing.
But who's telling us?
I'm guessing that they're wearing gold masks. Thank you for joining us again for a new month of fabricating fantastical fictional films.
Quite a mouthful there, wasn't it?
It was, yes. This is Maybe Movies. My name is Max, and I am joined, as always, by
Sam.
And once again, by our occasional drop-in,
Sam too.
And that's absolutely his name. As you can see, we seem to have been gifted 2 films to have a look at this month.
What do we have, Max?
We have V for Vendetta.
Oh, great movie. Great movie.
And The Count of Monte Cristo. Specifically, the 1934 version of The Count of Monte Cristo.
Not the remake.
Not the remake, which is a shame, because, certainly the 2002 remake is really good.
Yeah, Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce, whatever his bloody name is.
Caviezel.
That's his name. And also, which I didn't notice the first time, a very young Henry Cavill.
Yes, it is, yeah. That's correct.
Also, is it not the 70s version with Richard Chamberlain, which is also very good, which has got a bit of a stellar cast. There's Richard Chamberlain, Tony Curtis, Donald Pleasance.
Oh, Tony Curtis was in the 70s one.
Plays Count Mondego.
Oh, okay.
And Louis Jourdain as well. So that was quite an international cast. Before we go any further, sorry, I've been talking to these guys, not talking to Eve. Hello. So we've decided now, so that's thing 2 and that's thing 1.
Hey, thing 1.
Before we go any further, just a quick shout out, and as we seem to be going back over some of our old friends, thought we'd do this one for one of our oldest friends again, for Aaron Waite from Aaron's Games.
Ah, yes.
Aaron is a good friend and a filmmaker and content creator who started his channel about the same time, I think a few months before we started ours. He does a variety of things, from sort of D&D and role-playing, live play stuff, which I've been involved in a few of them myself, to a lot of sort of gaming content, a lot of Dead by Daylight, and more recently he's been doing some GTA online stuff as well. So, hope you're doing well, buddy. I know he's just recently put out his kind of mission statement for the year.
Ah, yes, I did see that, yeah.
I keep badgering him about doing some more Crash Pandas. We have a couple of movies to look at.
Indeed we do.
And,
Indeed we do.
Oh, hello. Maybe they want us to do 3. I don't know.
Whose birthday is it?
I've no idea whose birthday it might be around about this time.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Happy birthday, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right.
Oh, wow! You know, I've never seen this one. It's one of the classic video nasties.
I remember.
Got banned before I ever had a chance to see it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, awesome, man.
Giant scissors?
Is this the one with Oliver Reed in it?
I've only ever seen it once, and that was a long time ago. I don't recall him being in there.
Oh, Tom Savini special effects, though. That's the best bit.
Guaranteed good makeup then.
Mm-hmm. That out the way. Let's look at some movies.
Yay! Yeah. Two very closely tied movies.
They're quite difficult to mash together. I'm thinking.
I
was thinking that.
It's gonna have issues.
There may be some interesting things that happen, yes. I'm guessing they've given us this version, because isn't this the version that is in this?
That's the one he's watching on the television, yes, yeah.
Right. The 2002 version is the one that I would have gone to, which I think is I don't know if it's a better version. There's certainly more...
It's a good remake.
It's a good remake. It feels a lot more personal in that than this does. This does a good job.
You mean like with the character work and things like that?
Yes, yeah. It's
okay.
made... And also things like, I know in that version... and similar to even like the 70s version, they make Edmond Dantes is a lot more naive at the start. Whereas with this, he figures out what's going on before they take him away to the Chateau d'If. Whereas in those ones, generally, it's not until after he's been in prison for some time, he's like, what the hell am I doing here? That he starts to put two and two together and connect to the dots.
Okay.
It's a long film as well, this one. It's 2 hours. For a short, old movie, it's actually quite long. I mean, is that longer than the remake?
The 2002 one isn't far off that. I think it's shorter than this, but not by much.
Right.
And also, I know that the remake, that version, does different things with the story as well. The ending isn't quite the same.
Ah, right.
I must admit, the 70s one I need to revisit because I haven't watched that in a long time. I can't remember how that one ends.
I haven't seen any of the others. In fact, that's my first viewing of this one.
Oh, fantastic!
Was just the other day. I really quite enjoyed it. It was a good story.
If we're looking at taking V and putting him in this, I am wondering if we may end up either accidentally or by design straying slightly into Dumas' other great work, The Man in the Iron Mask. Because it's up to us, obviously, we have to decide whether or not we're actually going to get to see V's face.
I see what you mean. Right. Yeah. Ah, yes. Yeah.
And what about The Man with the Golden Mask?
Dun dun dun.
Well,
No, wait, no, that's not a film, but
you could make it into one.
let's make it.
If we do something like The Man with the Golden Gun and the Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah.
What do you think? No.
Already pitched the next episode. All right, you're welcome.
If we get a slew of comments going, yeah, do it. We'll
Yeah.
Go on, guys. Go on.
How the fuck are we going to do this?
So yeah, going back to the point, it is a difficult idea to mix these two films together. And plus, they're two different timelines, really. That's the hard part, I'm thinking.
And that part, I think, is we've got precedent for that because we've done that before.
Yes, I was thinking of Sinbad.
Yes, exactly. We took Sinbad, who's supposed to be sort of ancient Arabian era, and swapped him with Jack Sparrow. So it's not the first time that we've taken two films that are not only filmed but set in completely different time zones. It was last March, wasn't it? It was this time last year.
Golden Voyage of Sinbad and
the first Pirates of the Caribbean. That part isn't really so much of a problem. I mean, it's obviously that this is very heavily influenced by this.
they've got some very strong thematic elements together. Yes.
Yeah. First off, again, I suppose, are we just looking then at swapping our leads?
Are you then saying V is the one being trapped in the tower?
Yeah, which is kind of, I mean, in a lot of ways, this is the second half of this.
Yes. It starts in the middle, but we do get the flashbacks to find that process of imprisonment.
Yeah.
The tricky one, I thought, was the story that Natalie Portman's character is Evelyn? Evie, sorry.
Yeah.
That she reads the letter when she's imprisoned, and it's from the...
Oh, it's from the person next door, yeah.
The previous prisoner who's a lesbian.
Yes.
I was thinking, is that weird to then start something off like that there? But... because I thought that was a very Monte Cristo sort of... It
kind of, has parallels to the Abbe Ferrari who's in the other cell who comes and finds him. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I know we've done it before where we've swapped kind of secondary cast as well if they are intrinsically tied to the protagonist. So it's up to us. Do we replace Mercedes with Evie and vice versa?
That's a good question. You feel like you want to have Mercedes because she's got that relationship with Edmund.
She's the one who sees through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Quicker than anybody else.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, could that be Evie? I don't know, because then it would be a much older man with a much younger woman.
Which wouldn't have been uncommon at the time.
That's true. That is true.
Because we are still saying this in the 18th century or 19th century.
Is it easier to fit it so if you're doing the Count of Monte Cristo story, that you put Evie in that one and swap.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Instead of locking V, say. I just think he would have been he's a lot more...
Because she's the one who goes through the imprisonment, not
Yeah.
him.
He did go through the imprisonment, but we just don't see very much of it in the film.
No. Whereas in this one we will.
I mean, well, that's the thing. If you think about it, Evie's imprisonment is a recreation of V's imprisonment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are getting that. It's just in a weird way.
Yes, it's in her she's following his footsteps, sort of thing.
I mean, it might work. I mean, I'm trying to think. Because if we don't, is that going to work with V and? I mean, because we have to have for the fact that even if we do move Evie into our new version of Monte Cristo, she's going to age up like he does anyway. So the age thing isn't really that much of a problem. But then the question is she too modern a character to try and shoehorn into an early 19th century?
I don't know. I mean, she's quite concerned with appearances and things like that. Even though she rocks the boat, she is a conformist.
That's true.
There are a lot of parallels between her and Mercedes, actually, when you stop to think about it.
Yeah.
The main difference is that Evie is an orphan, so she doesn't have the family to try and pressure her into certain social situations. That's the biggest difference between Evie and Mercedes.
But that could also work in our favour, because then it's a question of, again, this need to conform works as well. Or rather, we can translate slightly her need to her instinct to conform with an instinct for acceptance, which as an orphan, the chance of being married to a rich and powerful man and being accepted into polite society.
I see, yeah.
Might work just as well.
I see, yeah, I see, yeah, it would make up the difference. Yeah, okay. So, it sounds like we're saying, yes, we do want to swap Evie as well as V.
I'm up for giving that a go, if we are all agreed.
So is that...
If we are unanimous, if we are anonymously unanimous.
He did it.
So are you saying Evie being locked in the tower in that story?
Don't know about that yet. I'm just saying, we're just trying to decide whether or not we want to transfer her from between films as well as
I see what you mean.
Our main characters.
I think that I'm leaning towards that more.
Yeah.
Because I think that would help us get more towards an ending to each story, to both stories. Then
on both sides, our protagonists have a connection with this character, with a particular character, and it kind of skews the dynamic if we're trying to shoehorn V having any kind of connection with Mercedes. I know technically she's part of the thing, which is swapping them out, but it kind of works better if we take their actual
love interest,
even though they're not, but that kind of foil.
They are the perfect foil for each other.
Yes, and it makes sense to keep those the same. I'm happy with that.
So is that then the same thing with in the Count of Monte Cristo story? Swap the protagonist and Mercedes.
So it'll be Edmond Dantes and also Mercedes as well. Will be in
two this time.
Will be in this time.
Down for that.
Excellent. Okay, let's have a look very quickly then at acts. I must admit, I haven't properly had a chance to properly finish watching V because my Netflix crapped up because it's shit. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'll try to watch it on Netflix as well. Yeah.
I got about 30 minutes into it and then my Netflix just went and hasn't come back up yet. So
well, screw you. When it comes to V for Vendetta, I'm reasonably sure that the second act ends with the God is in the rain bit. After she's just been tortured and she comes out, she finds out it's V and she goes out into the rain and kind of is reborn.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
For the end of Act 2, but I'm not sure what the end of Act 1 is, because that structure at the beginning is pretty crazy. My guess would either be when V actually kidnaps us, when he attacks the news station, or when Evie runs away from him, when he takes her to go and see the bishop.
As I said, because I haven't had a chance to probably rewatch it, I'm kind of going to go with what you suggest on this one.
Yeah, I was leaning towards more about the bishop one. Is this where she dresses up as the little girl? And
that's right.
Yeah.
That would make sense though, because isn't that almost like the first time that she takes any concerted action on V's behalf?
No, the very first time is when he kidnaps her from the BTN tower because she pepper sprayed the policeman that was trying to arrest him.
Yes.
Yeah, she chooses to act for herself more concretely in that point, because she doesn't just do something. She she actually decides to leave. Yeah. She takes a course of action rather than being dragged around by people.
Okay. I'm happy with that.
I agree with that.
Okay.
For Monte Cristo, I think this is one that we both agreed on. We briefly talked about it before. Is the first appearance of the Abbé in the Chateau d'If.
Yeah.
Because that's like, it's everything goes downhill until that. That's the first return of a moment of hope.
Yeah, yeah.
And of salvation. So that makes sense. The end of Act 2, I wanted to say it would be when he dispatches Count Mondego. It's the actual first conclusive action in his revenge. Of his revenge coming to fruition.
Right.
Everything up to that is planning.
Okay, right,
In that
yeah.
act. And that's the first time, or that's the first stage of his revenge. Because there's always that suggestion that he might not go through with it.
Yes.
And this is the first time you know for definite that he is committed to this course of action.
Okay.
That's why it just felt that it seemed like an appropriate time. And there's still enough of the film left after that because it is such a long film.
Yeah. I mean, I don't object. I've only seen the film once, so I'm not as clear on the structure. I think you've seen it a few more times than me. That sounds like a good point to me.
You're a lot more experienced than by the sounds of it. I only watched half of it at this moment in time, so I need to get into the second half. But yeah, no, I'm okay with that.
In terms of names, so for the Count of Monte Cristo, we've got the Count of Vendetta.
Oh, of course.
I thought that as well.
V for Vendetta becomes MC for Monte Cristo.
Oh!
Not to be confused with MC Monte Cristo.
MC Hammer.
You've got those trousers, haven't you? Please tell me you've still got those trousers.
That was not mine.
Oh.
You had some hammer pants?
Back in the day, Sam. Back
Oh,
in the day.
man.
It's a long, complicated.
Is it on YouTube, please?
Yes, it is on YouTube.
Oh, so I'll link it. I'll link it into this. So,
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
hilarious.
Oh, dear.
I wear a pair of magical golden trousers.
I need to see
It
this.
is actually in reference to MC Hammer, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah, it's fantastic. So if we're happy with those, all we need to decide then is which one do we want to try and do first?
Yeah.
Ease us in gently.
Those two titles are excellent, by the way.
Thank you.
Actually, I couldn't think of the other one, and as soon as you said that, yeah.
After what we did last month, the other thing to be considered as well is if we're swapping the protagonists, are we swapping the storyline? No, we can't.
No, the story has to stay the
Story has to
same.
stay the same.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me.
It doesn't really matter which one, I guess. I was trying to think what would be easy. I don't think that.
I don't think there is an easy one.
No, so it doesn't really matter.
The Count of Vendetta is probably going to be the easiest one to do because we can replace him.
V.
We can replace his fascination with Guy Fawkes with his fascination for the story of the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh,
Okay,
exactly.
So the persona that he. No, that's not going to work.
So it's too
No!
self-aware. It's too self-aware.
Yeah, it is. I thought for a minute that was like, oh yeah, because we can replace the persona that he assumes is more like Monte Cristo, but then that's not going to work because that's going to.
I guess we're not going to bring up the fact that at one point, they even watched the film. Would that be excluded in that story?
It would have to be in the MC for Monte Cristo because
MC for Monte Cristo.
yeah.
Because that's the V for
the-
Vendetta story, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the V for Vendetta.
So
It's a V for Vendetta. That's on in the background.
Yeah.
Backward. Yeah, do it backward. Yeah.
Yeah.
V for Vendetta, my favourite by the Wachowskis. You mean you've never seen it?
But yes, which one would you like to do first? I'm leaving this up to you guys because I really don't know.
I think MC from Monte Cristo is going to be the slightly easier one to start with. It just needs modernising, whereas the other one, of course, has more fantastical elements that we have to weave in somehow.
Yeah, that's going to be hard.
Okay, so please do come back and join us on Wednesday, and we will be looking at Act 1 of MC for Monte Cristo, which will have Edmond Dantes and Mercedes being dragged into the 21st century?
Yes.
Early 2000s, wasn't it? Yeah. Trying to bring down the corrupt English government on the back of a mysterious disease. Anyway, until then, as always, have a great weekend, have a great start to next week, and we will see you on Wednesday.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Bye-bye.
Ba 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 ba.